One greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans, and thank you for joining me. Happy Friday and happy weekend to the viewing audience. My movie suggestion for this weekend is Gaslight, now playing on Tubi. It should be posted to my community board. Thank you all for joining me. Let's go back a couple of months where a 62-year-old African-American male was shot at his home in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This small town sits outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. It is known as the Secret City. Some of you may not have ever heard of this place, so let me fill you in of this small demographic. The Secret City got its name because it was the best kept secret in America. This is where the first atomic bomb was built. And some of you are probably thinking, what? I never knew that. Exactly. It is a nuclear town. It is a scientific town. Many people travel to this small town to do scientific work. A renowned scientist that works at the National Lab, which is housed in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, worked on the Casey Anthony case. And he was the one who brought forth the smell test that was conducted in the trunk of Casey Anthony's car. So this town is, yes, America's best kept secret. Y12 wants to house X10. K25, the National Lab. K25 is no longer there, but it once was a nuclear power plant. Then there is Y12, which is still there. There was X10. And as I said, National Lab, the Oak Ridge National Lab, Associated Universities, is housed in this small town, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Secret City. Let's take a little small tour of what this place is about. Oak Ridge is a city in Anderson and Roane counties in the eastern part of the U.S. state of Tennessee, about 25 miles west of downtown Knoxville. Oak Ridge's population was at 31,402 at the 2020 census. It is part of the Knoxville metropolitan area. As of August 22, the unemployment rate is 3.2. Area code 865, Mayor Warren L. Gooch. Last population in 2021, 31,824, which is about a rough estimate of 400 plus people since the 2020 census. What is Oak Ridge famous for? It was the first and the largest of the three Manhattan Project sites built to produce the world's first atomic weapons. Known as the Secret City, Oak Ridge was built in 1942, and its population skyrocketed to 75,000 in just 2.5 years, making it the fifth largest city in Tennessee. This was June 12, 2019. Is this a good place to live? Oak Ridge is a suburb of Knoxville with a population at this time of calculation, it was at 29,124. It sits in Anderson County and is one of the best places to live in Tennessee. Living in Oak Ridge offers residents a sparse suburban feel, and most residents own their homes. Why is Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the secret city? Oak Ridge was given the name of the secret city because no one except those who lived there knew it existed. The entire town and facilities were fenced in with armed guards at each entry. All of the workers were sworn to secrecy and only informed about the specific tasks they needed to complete. And this was early on when the town was built. It is a government town. It is still known as a government town. It is secret cities today. Does it still exist? Yes, of course it does. Now, Oak Ridge is part of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park, which also has locations in New Mexico and Washington. Guided tours began in 1996 with visits to the Y12 New Hope Center, the graphite reactor at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and the former K25 site at East Tennessee Technology Park. This content was uploaded June 2nd, 2020. Is Oak Ridge, Tennessee a nuclear target? When the United States dropped the first of two atomic bombs on Japan, the secret city of Oak Ridge was lauded for its role in fueling the super bomb that effectively ended World War II. In the 75 years since Hiroshima, was leveled by enriched uranium, Oak Ridge became a target for peace activists. This was October 3rd, 2020. What is secret in Oak Ridge, Tennessee? Before 1942, the Oak Ridge looked like the landscape often seen in East Tennessee, large plots of land with many hills and valleys. For that reason, it became the site of a secret project of the United States government called the Manhattan Project. So you see how befitting a small town called Secret City houses one of the best kept secrets of a nuclear bomb. And fast forward near 80 years later, the secret of the murder of Frederick Black, an African-American male who was shot in his home. Why is this the best kept secret? Who killed Frederick Black, and why are we months later and no arrest? Many rumors circulated after the death of Frederick Black of who killed him. Most of the information I will bring you is hearsay. Usually I don't do the gossip because it convolutes the facts. But naturally, there will always be street talk when you're dealing with street drama. And this is a tale from the streets. Gritty, grimy, unnecessary, but gritty, grimy nonetheless in a small town. You see, it doesn't matter if you are in New York, LA, Miami versus Anderson County, Tennessee. Foul is foul. The mindset is still the same, and that's where people get it confused. They think because people live in a small town that they act and behave differently. Not all the time. You see, the mindset is the same everywhere. People hold secrets everywhere. Somebody gets gunned down, shot, mutilated in New York. People don't talk, don't say nothing, don't come forward, won't testify, lie. They often do it in small demographics as well, such as the murder of Frederick Black. So you see, we are now in a small demographic where the inhabitants of a small African-American community known as Scarborough, but to the people who know it well, the Valley, are holding the secret to the death and murder of a Black man. Why? Why are you all holding the secret? Is it because you don't want to testify in an open court where people can see and hear your testimony to being an eyewitness to his murder? Somebody knows what happened. Too much street traffic, coming and goings in and out of the area, people parking their cars, lining up to talk, walk, sit on their cars, but yet on this fateful night, nobody knows anything. Why is that? Who killed Frederick Black? Why is the perpetrator walking free? And why won't somebody come forward to tell us who killed him? Is there an eyewitness to the murder of Frederick Black? I think so. But who's going to tell it? Have there been tips as far as a suspect, but nobody wants to come forward to say personally they saw who shot him this fateful evening? The TBI is currently investigating this homicide. Let me bring you this information. Thank you all so much for joining me. This content was updated August 20th, 2022. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. The investigation remains active and ongoing, in case you're curious.
A possible homicide investigation with the TBI. Oak Ridge police officers responded to a home in the 300 block of Benedict Avenue Thursday. Officers found 62-year-old Frederick Orlando Black's body inside that home. We're still waiting to learn the cause of death. We'll let you know what we learn.
All right, that's a brief news clip. WVLT8 is the source. A body was found in Oak Ridge on Thursday, prompting the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to begin an apparent homicide investigation. Oak Ridge Police Department officers responded to a residence in the 300 block of Benedict Avenue August 18th, officials said once on the scene. Officers found a man dead inside of the home. He was identified as Frederick Orlando Black, 62. The man's body was sent for an autopsy, according to the TBI. The investigation remains active and ongoing. Interesting. If anybody has any information, please call ORPD at 865-425-4399. Tips also can be submitted online, lowercase http://oakridgetn.gov/department/capital letters ORPD/home. Information can be given anonymously. Somebody knows something. But yet, nothing. Very interesting. Frederick Orlando Black, 62, entered eternal life on August 18, 2022 in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Frederick is preceded in death by grandmother Helen Seiler, grandfather Owen McGee. In addition to his grandparents, he is also preceded in death by son Frederick Black. Those remaining to cherish his memory are devoted and loving wife Constance E. Black, daughter Sierra Mitchell, sons Chris Black and Chavez Golden, granddaughters Jordan Truss and Shania Stewart, grandsons Shane Black and Caden Troop, mother Mary Helen Copeland, father Harold Henderson, stepchildren Christy and Erica Chandler, sisters Sherry and Karen, brother Harold Jr., sisters-in-law Sheila Gregg Hensley, Charlotte Corey Watkins, Regilla Odom, brothers-in-law Richard Odom Jr. and Randall Odom, step-grandchildren Christian Jacob, Jayla, Amir, and Amari, along with a host of loving aunts, uncles, close friends, to include special friends Richard Dunn, Antonio Squirrel, and James Houston. Family will receive friends Saturday, August 27, 22, which has passed. This was at Victoria's Church, Honey Rock Victoria's Church, 4113 Holston Drive. Funeral service followed. Pastor Jerry Upton officiated, and then the Interment Park Cemetery was in Madisonville, Tennessee. Final arrangements were made by Jarnigan and Son Mortuary. A lot of people mentioned in this obituary, naturally. What happened to Frederick Black? You see, as I said before, these black folks are holding a secret to who killed him. Somebody saw something, or they know of something. Because as I said, this is a heavy traffic area where people ride up and down the street, post up on cars and sit alongside the curb in front of a house that was rented by Frederick Black. He did not own the home. It's said that he bootlegged, rumor, allegedly, possibly delved into other little things that were not legal. He was also a gambler. And this is where it is believed He came to die from gambling with some young folks. It is alleged that he was accused of trickery during the game. A young person called him out, grown, of course, called him a name allegedly. He allegedly slapped the man, and the man obviously was offended. Why would he not be? But did this man kill him? Because rumor in the street said he did. But my understanding from someone close to the alleged killer, he said he didn't do it. So what is the truth? Even someone buzzed in the Queen's ear that he told the alleged girlfriend that he was sorry. So one would say if that's true, I try not to do the rumors, as not to cause myself any injury. Why would he apologize to the girlfriend if that's true? Why would a random person apologize to the girlfriend? I'm going to go out on a limb on this. I'm sure I'll get a little heat. That's okay. You all know that a killer is free, so what's the problem? Did he tell this person that he was sorry for the death of her boyfriend? Why would you tell a person that if you didn't kill him? You're telling one person you are sorry, then you're telling another person, I didn't do that, I don't hang with people, blah, 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 I ain't in the mix. But your name was in the mix. So why would people implicate your name in a homicide of a 62-year-old black man? I'll wait. And why have there been no arrests? Rather, rumor, true or not. Somebody knows something out there in the valley. And why are you all holding the secret? But what's even more disturbing is the jump off thereafter. It is alleged that his daughter's house was raided. I don't know much about that because I didn't go digging. Why would they be raiding a daughter's house? People allege that she took things out of the house. That is what people were saying. What they told the Queen. I don't know. I wasn't there. Also alleged that other people stepped over a dead man and stole things out of his house. His belongings, jewelry. So what was stolen out of Frederick Black's house? Let's go there. Since nobody wants to talk about who killed him and why. Why is it alleged that some of you dusty motherfuckers went in there and stole stuff out of his house? Now, you can either say he was a good person, bad person. That depends on your interpretation and your dealings with Frederick Black. What you knew of him, what you heard of him, kind of like anybody. Whether a person is into dirty dealings, illegal, legal, hustling, whatever you want to call it, whatever the hustle is, there will always be somebody that will like the person, love the person. You may not condone their behavior and the things that they're into. You don't have to deal with them. That's anybody. But nonetheless, he had acquaintances. He had children, obviously grandchildren, so on and so forth, associates, friends. Somebody liked him. Let's say that. But did he deserve death for what somebody assumed he did? So what is it exactly that he did? And who's going to tell the truth of what happened that night? It is alleged that he was seen at the Magnolia Cafe the night of the death, or going into the early morning. And he lied dead all night, wee hour, early day, up into the early evening of that following Thursday. Imagine that. He had dogs who were known to bite or vicious. So if he died in his house, how did he get killed with the dogs? So did they shoot him at the doorway, or they were in the house and shot him? Which is it? I don't know. Wasn't there once again. What is the truth? Some people believe perhaps he was summoned to the door and the person shot him from possibly across the street or across the fence. Did someone come up behind somebody's house that neighbored him next door and maybe motioned across from a fence and was shot? Which is it? Shot from a fence, shot from outside the door, or shot right at the damn door? Which is it? Where is the location from whence he was shot? Were the dogs outside or inside? It is alleged that they were inside because it was rumored that ambulance and officials couldn't get in because of the dogs. So that means nobody had any threat of being able to walk up directly to the door and shoot Frederick Black point blank. He was shot above the neck. Use your discretion in what I mean. So that would make one think the perpetrator was up close to the victim. What was the motive? Was this all over a trick game, trick dice, a nasty comment, all of the above? A person lost control, felt offended, their manhood was misrepresented. They were embarrassed. We know how men are about being embarrassed in front of other people. That can't slide. Nobody's going to embarrass me in front of other people. Most would have said, well, why didn't you just shoot him right there where you was offended? If indeed he said something out of the way to you, vice versa, he slapped you allegedly, why didn't you just shoot him right there? Let me guess, you didn't have a gun on you then. Too many witnesses. But common sense should tell you if he verbally hit you, said something to you verbally and hit you in front of people, how is killing him going to make people think you weren't the one that did it? We're going to keep it real. And how do you walk around with yourself knowing you killed this man? Now, some may think he deserved it. I don't know. I'm not trying to decipher all of that. Was he known to be a cocky, arrogant person? I would say he would. I think he was a bit arrogant to himself, about himself, liked himself a lot. Let's just say he liked himself a lot, Mr. Black. Did he use trick dice at this alleged dice game? Should he have been shooting dice with people that weren't in his age group? But one could say anything could jump off, no matter who's you're playing a game with, cards, dice, whatsoever. Many people have lost their lives due to card games, dice games. Some were set up. One gentleman said to me, he had no business playing dice with that kind anyway. They weren't on his level financially. Why shoot dice with them? I said, well, I agree, but it's neither here nor there now. He's gone. But who shot him? And why are there no arrests? And this is an issue of nobody wants to come forward because they don't want to have to testify in court. And everybody's going to know you were there. You saw something, heard something that fateful night morning. You don't want to sit in court and everybody know what you said in court. But let somebody shoot you, your mama, daddy, cousin, child. You going to break your neck hooping and hollering for justice. Isn't that amazing how some of us act when we ain't wearing the shoe? But God forbid we ought to put the shoe on. We want everybody to come run and tell the story. Tell what you saw. Come forward. So why are there nobody coming forward in this case of Frederick Black? Please enlighten me. Is it because perhaps some of you just didn't like him? Is that it? Did some of you think he was too big for his britches, and this is why you all won't come forward and tell who shot Frederick Black? I'm curious, enlighten the queen. Oh, I can keep a secret. Come on now. Is that why none of you come forward? Is because you all really did like Frederick Black? Maybe some of you are basking in the fact that he's dead. I don't know. We're going to keep it real because it's time to quit digging around and sugarcoating around why he was murdered in the first place. Because people are killed for the most minute things. A stare, a look, affiliation. Somebody did something to somebody. You're hanging with them. You ride with them. You're gang affiliated. I thought it was interesting that TBI decided to check up the case. And then one person told me, well, perhaps it's gang related or drug related, or that is why TBI came in. Because this is a small town. There have been a few deaths in this small city. So one was wondering, well, why would the TBI need to be involved? Very good question. Why is TBI involved? Why are there no arrests? And this is what I'm going to tell you so you can understand where the queen is coming from. I know somebody knows who shot him because you already named people who went in the house and stole stuff out of his house. And you know Queen would not dare put their names on a live stream so they won't come looking for me saying, why you got my name on your YouTube channel? Saying I stole something out of Frederick Black house, because you know you did, didn't you? Because why would somebody say, one, who the killer is, and then two, who walked up in there and stole shit out of his house? So you can't have one without the other. Come on, Queen, bring it to him. You can't have one without the other. You can't have who was coming out with shit and not have who shot him. Because how would you know to go in there and steal something if he was alive? What alive person gonna let you walk in their house and steal their stuff out their house? So that means you knew he was dead and you stepped over a dead man and stole stuff out of his house and let him lie there dead without calling 911 for a whole fucking day. Boy, that's ruthless. That's no more ruthless than the motherfucker that shot him. Shut up, Queen. Some might think he deserved it. He was using trickery, allegedly. He's cheating people, trying to cheat people out their money. Well, he's a hustler, right? Isn't that what hustlers do? They hustle. Be your bootlegging, selling drugs, janky dice, janky cards. The hustle is the hustle. And you participate in the hustle, so you ruin the risk of being hoodwinked and bamboozled. Oh, you forgot how the game goes? Now, for those of you who don't know about street life, you can bypass this live stream unless you just want to ear hustle and learn a little something. I surely don't mind. But that is the art of the hustle. So when you put your foot in the game, you should know there's a chance you might get a toe or two cut off. Come on, bring it home, Queen. They don't want none. See, that's what the hustle's about. It's trickery, buffoonery. Can you have an honest hustler? Sure you can. But was he a honest hustler? That is the question. And did he deserve death if he was an unsavory hustler? You'll be the judge of that. Naturally, his mother wants justice. I'm assuming his children will want justice, relatives, friends, and then I'm sure there are those who don't give a fuck. Because one thing I've learned about being above this ground, there are many people who do not wish you well. They do not wish success on you. And God forbid you got a little attitude about yourself, a bit narcissist, a little cocky, a whole lot of cocky. Oh yeah, you're going to have enemies. So what is the truth to the death of Frederick Black? Is this jealousy, envy-heartedness, or just somebody felt offended and they popped him? Excuse my French. Shot in the face or head is what has been alleged. Kind of cruel. Nah, whole lot of cruel. But like I said, whether it's New York, Chicago, or a small town, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, obviously the mindset is the same. Folks can hold the secret. So what you have to ask yourself is why? Why would some people in a small town hold the secret to the death of a 62-year-old black man? Do they feel he deserved this shooting? That is why they're not coming forward. Because naturally, if you come forward, you'd have to testify in court, and many people would not want their government name and face shown in the courtroom and people reporting what they said in court. That is why many homicides go unsolved, because people know they would have to go to court once they give their statement. But you should know that you can always give information anonymously, even if you saw the murder. And let the detectives do what they do. Detect. Just drop the name. I'm sure some people called and told. There's always going to be tips. I find it interesting, no reward. Why not? Why no reward for a black man Why no reward for Frederick Black? Why no arrest? No updates? Got to hunt tooth and nail just to get an update on a black man shot in a small town of 31,000 people. Imagine that. But yet you all gossiped y'all asses off about who did it and why. Imagine that. So what do we have here? 62-year-old man lying dead in his house for a whole damn day. No suspects. People gossiping about who did it and why. And then the alleged allegations that people stepped over the dead man and went in his house and stole stuff out of his house. Now, here comes the interesting part of the story. Are you listening? Where were the two dogs at? Because if they were running around the house, which I would assume he would let them loose in his house while he's there, how did the perpetrators get in who were doing the thievery? I'll wait. Ooh, the plot thickens. Were the dogs loose in the house while Frederick Black lied dead? Somebody knows the answer to this question, because I got a feeling somebody knows. Matter of fact, I believe some plural know the answer. Let the street tell it. Damn, them streets know they like to talk. And you crazy to be watching somebody walk in and out of a dead man's house, stealing shit out of there, and you watching them people steal. Now put that on paper. Now how you sleeping at night? I guess mighty fine. Huh. You see, ain't no such thing as friends. Imagine all the people that talked to Frederick Black and laughed and kiki with him when he come in and out of his house and do a little dice game on the sidewalk right there in front of his house or the corner. But boy, when they shot him dead, and if it's true that people walked in the house and stole stuff, them probably the same people that was laughing and kikiing with him and speaking to him. What y'all think about that? Imagine that. Once again, were the dogs loose inside of the house? Because if they were, then that means ding, 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 ding. The thieves were familiar with the dogs. Damn. What about that? My. Woo! Getting close to home. I believe there's a pot on the stove burning. What y'all think? Small town secrets are no different than high crime in big boy cities. People will hold the secret to a murder and to a crime. Being a witness, being the perpetrator, being the enabler of the killer. Will let a person confess to them about a murder or crime and never utter a word. Why is that? Do you feel good enabling a killer? Why would you do that? What's so special about this killer that you all don't want to be known that you saw something or that you know something? Because I know you don't want to go to court. That's all this is about. Just like it is in New York, Philadelphia, same thing with this small place in Anderson County. Nobody wants to go to court to testify what they saw, what they heard. So then you got to ask yourself, did anybody hear gunshots that night? How many times was the victim shot? And in close proximity, the houses are rocks thrown from one another. You mean to tell me what? He had a muzzle on the gun? Oh, now, come on. So you heard a gunshot close to your damn door. You want me to believe you wouldn't get up and peep out the blinds or the curtains? And how did the killer get away? Shot him from across the fence and then went and trotted through the grass behind somebody's house. Got away. Did it kind of go like that? Because I don't think he drove up. That would be too conspicuous because people watching can see. He don't know who's got a doorbell camera or not. Probably didn't give a damn. But did he send somebody to the door? Ooh, Angela, that's a good one. Did he send somebody to the door? Hey, go knock on Freddie's door. Tell him to come outside. Come to the door. Did he use bait, the killer? Or is it a she? I don't know. Could it be a woman killer? I don't know. Some woman mad at Frederick Black. He was very well known with the ladies. It's not to offend anybody that was dating him or married to him. It's also alleged that he was also married, also had a woman friend. My, the plot thickens. Or is this just street justice for a not so nice guy? Maybe some people didn't think he was nice. You're entitled to your opinion of Frederick Black. But in the eyes of detectives, they say it doesn't matter how the victim lived, whether they were cutthroat or not, they were human life. And we detect all crimes. So it doesn't matter if the victim was Christian, non-Christian, stayed in trouble with the law, criminal. We have to solve the murder because it was a human life. You entitled to your interpretation of that said information. They were big dogs, trust me. Big furry ass dogs. And my understanding, they were not nice. So I'm going to say this once again. Were the dogs inside of the house? If so, were they locked in a room? Because I was able to see a picture of one of the rooms where the dogs stayed. And they did not leave it quite nice after the fact. So one would say he did keep the dogs locked in a room. But that's the point of the story. Were the dogs walking around the house at the time of death? Because if they were, and people went in to steal items allegedly, then that means somebody is familiar with the dogs. So that would leave a family member, friend, acquaintance, if indeed things were stolen out of the house after death. And I'm trying to understand why would anybody lie and make that up. But people do. So let me say that. And I'm not to allege that items were stolen. That is just the word on the street. And as I tell you, I try not to use he said, she said, but it's a very riveting story because the crime is unsolved. So one would have to start to ask themselves, what's the truth to the rumors? Man shot in the face, head, or whatever, lies dead for a whole day, allegedly items taken out of the house. People alleged the daughter was coming out with things. Later they said her house was raided. Then we have people going in the house while the man's lying there dead, stealing things out of his house. So what's the truth? Then some might question that. Why would a child be stealing things out of the house or taking anything out of the house? So that would make you think that there's something nefarious in the house that she didn't want to be left behind. But then some would say, well, who gives a fuck? He's dead. So what are you taking out of that? What you want? I'm just saying. Somebody knows who killed Frederick Black. Somebody knows who went in and out of the house if allegedly things were stolen by whomever. And somebody's holding the secret to his death and the thievery thereafter, if true. And why are you holding the secret? And if you saw who killed him, if you saw who went in and out of the house after death, did you call the police and give them the information anonymously? And why has there been no arrest in the murder of Frederick Black? And how long will this case sit on the bulletin board of an unsolved homicide? Very interesting. If the person, do they still have the gun? Or did they throw it away? Because you'd be a fool to keep the gun, especially if people were chitter-chattering that you're the killer. Naturally, they're going to ask you questions, detectives, if they haven't already. And they will probably have issued a search warrant to search your belongings, your house, your apartment, your car or cars. And are you waiting on the day that they come with an indictment for murder? Or are you just sitting idly by waiting on that day they tap on your door? And what will your defense be? I just didn't like them. He offended me. He embarrassed me. He owed me something, money. What is it? What is the reason for the death of this man? 62 years old, you would think, my God, who gets killed at this age? This is the age of retirement, enjoying your life. But Frederick Black still had his foot in the street. It's no secret. And I'm not going to sugarcoat anything in this live stream about his life, alleged life. His foot was still in the street. He still wanted to be amongst the young folks, dibbling and dabbling and doing things, and it cost him his life. And my understanding is that some people had robbed him or attempted to rob him at one point some years back, if that is true. So he was a target. He was a target in his own town and outside Knoxville, Tennessee. He was a moving target, little did he know. And if indeed he offended someone, it did not help on this fateful night, if I'm to believe the allegations, rumors. Somebody knows the secret, and somebody's holding it, and they holding it tight. And I know it's the fear of testifying. That is why many people do not testify. That is why we have so many high crimes in major cities, because people know that if they come forward and sign their name on a dotted line, they will have to show up to court. And they will fear for their safety, children, family, friends, retaliation. But this is small town USA. It really ain't no gangsters in Oak Ridge. So I don't see that you really will have a problem to go tell you saw somebody shoot Frederick Black. Come on, you guys. That street shit is for television. These folks ain't running nothing out there, and they ain't about to buck up and do nothing. Now, maybe Las Vegas folks will hold their breaths, hold the secrets to murder, because a lot of people know each other and are related to each other. Some are gang affiliated, want to be gangsters anyway. Yeah, I said that. But ain't nothing running tight in Oak Ridge. I can tell you that now. Just some small country folk, black folks, barely living, barely surviving. Ain't nothing. That's right, not in this case. Tell the truth, set your soul free. Because one day you might be on the chopping block and you might be staring down the barrel of a gun. You might get shot in the face or shot in the head. And God forbid you're taking your last breath, wondering why somebody would be so cruel to shoot you. You do not want to be in the place of Frederick Black, no matter who you are. Because you should know that karma is a bitch. And she will come back full circle. And I'm going to tell you how it's going to go. If you are never apprehended, you will one day look around and it will be your mother or your father or your brother or your sister gunned down. Or it will be one of your children gunned down. Because it will be possibly a generational curse that will come knocking at one of your family members' doors. And at that very moment when they are dead, you will say to yourself, karma came home. Because she always do. So if you don't go to prison, somebody close to you will probably suffer the same fate as Frederick Black. And that will be the first thing you think. Damn. The Reaper came because of me. Because of what I did to Frederick Black. Be very careful. As in the case with young Dolph, one of the co-conspirators, Govan, lost his daughter to gun violence in Houston, Texas, an up-and-coming rapper. Now, what are the odds that her father allegedly put out the hit or conspired for the hit, orchestrated the hit with somebody else for young Dolph, and now his daughter is 6 feet under? Ding. A man has killed people, and now his child is no longer alive. Gun violence. Ding. And you have killed Frederick Black. So you should be looking for the Reaper to come to one of your family members' doors at some point in life. Because you know it will happen. It can happen. And you may not go to prison if the detectives, TBI, don't find any evidence against you. No eyewitness wants to testify or come forward, but you should be looking over your shoulder because you might get the same fate as Frederick Black, or somebody close to you will die the same way. And you will be wanting justice, but then you'd have to tell yourself, how could I want justice for my friend, my family, when I took the life of a man for some petty reason? Because 9 times out of 10, the murder of Frederick was petty. Could have been resolved. And as you hear a lot of young black men say now, just let it ride. Turn the other cheek and keep it moving. You don't have to retaliate because life is precious. And usually one thing begets another. You retaliate, and then somebody else will jump on board, and then the cycle will never stop. And before you know it, it's a bunch of people lying dead every few years for one person's fatal mistake or jump off. And this is how we build enemies across the board. It will never stop. This is why we have wars in the street. East side, west side, Crip, Blood, Vice Lord, GD. It will never stop. You shot my cousin, my brother, I shoot you. Now somebody's looking for me. When will it stop? You have to know how to handle your issues with people. And I get it. Men do not like to be embarrassed. If I'm to believe the allegations that Frederick Black embarrassed a young man by slapping him in the face, I don't know if it's true or not. Speaking in general, is it worth prison? That's what you have to ask yourself. People are embarrassed every day, but they don't go get a gun and shoot anybody. They don't go get a knife and stab anybody. They let it ride. But most of us don't like to be embarrassed, don't like to be humiliated. I get it. But what you have to tell yourself is, if I go get something or I pull something out at that moment, I can't take it back. I can't take it back. Does the killer have remorse for killing Frederick Black? I wonder that. Because as I said, you're walking around, you're breathing, you're sleeping, you're slumbering. You have to know that one day the bang's going to come. Either somebody's going to pop you or you're going to be arrested for the murder. So how are you feeling right now? How do you sleep at night? There's no way you could be walking around thinking your ass ain't going to go to prison. I don't give a damn what happened between you and Freddie. You got to know karma is on her way. She got to get you, baby. It's the earth. It's called retribution. You wanted to retaliate for whatever you think Frederick did to you. So you should know the earth has got to get it back. That's her job. She can't let you walk free with no consequences. Because God ain't going to let it be. So every day you wake up breathing, eating, smoking, drinking, you know the karma's got to come home. Because she owes you one. Just like you felt you owed Freddie Black, karma owes you. And for your sake, you better hope it ain't the reaper. Because he will owe you one too. I want to thank you for joining me. You all have a wonderful holiday season. Be aware of your surroundings while out shopping. If you have any information to this crime, please call the Oak Ridge Police Department or TBI. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. Always remember that in these stories of true crime, that it could be you we're talking about. So don't ever get it twisted. that you cannot end up lying face down 6 feet under because of a misunderstanding. Something you said, something you didn't do, something you've been accused of, and somebody decides to retaliate. Don't ever think it cannot be you. And God forbid you travel down this road and you become the perpetrator because you lost your temper, you lost your way. Take it to the Lord. He's a favorable God and he's a way maker. And he can right the wrong for you. And you can be scot-free and clear without walking around with a demon on your back, worrying about the day you will go to jail for homicide or attempted murder. Don't be that person. Let it go. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during my live streams. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the 1,700 plus new subscribers and viewers. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Like, share, subscribe. Put this video out there on your platform. Please share. Prayers to the family. Frederick Black. Justice. As I said, he was known by many people. And no matter your opinion of him or what you heard about him, still in the eyes of God, it was his child. I don't have to agree or disagree. I don't know what actually happened on that fateful night of any disagreement or verbiage or allegations of physical violence against another person that will make this person retaliate. But as I said, nonetheless, it's possibly something mundane that the two could have squashed. But I know that when you're dealing with being humiliated and embarrassed in front of people, especially if you have been hit and you are a man, you're not going to want to live that down. You can't in your mind. And possibly this is the reason why Frederick Black is no longer alive. I do not know. I was not there. But nonetheless, Frederick is dead and his killer is free. And you can't walk free. Still in this man's life. But in the end, I know everything's about interpretation. So it's your interpretation. If you felt like this man deserved this, if the person was justified because he embarrassed a young man, slapped him in the face, used trick dice, all allegations, I don't have a receipt to any of it because I wasn't there. But as I said, in the eyes of law enforcement, Frederick Black was a man and he had life. So it didn't matter whatever past he had or how he was living at the time of the altercation, murder. His death deserves justice. And I guess God would concur too. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.